We were just talking about how like there was that like Cumtown and Jesus and Marrow, like they were all like breaking up, and they started around the same time as us. And like PFT and I had to look at each other and be like, "Are we good?" Yeah, like all of our friends are getting divorced.
You
like,
guys are going to be the new Mike and Mike.
Yeah, right. We're good, right? So yeah, it's I'm very lucky to have a life partner like PFT.
Nice. Thanks, Dan. All right, welcome back to Drop a Pin. Today we have our good friend. Some say one of our best friends.
Best friend.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Would you?
Yeah.
Dan Katz. Dan Katz is with us. Big Cat, thanks for joining us, man.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
We wanted to bring you on and talk about some of your travel adventures.
Yeah, I'm not a big world traveler.
Yes.
So we're doing Madison.
Okay, yeah, that works for me.
Yeah.
We can talk about like a few of your other travel experiences,
Well,
but
yeah, Chaps asked me, he's like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Dude, I've been to like a bunch of like beach vacations in like the Caribbean and Paris. And that's about it. Hawaii, but that's not a lot of traveling. I got to do better on traveling. I think I'm going to be one of those guys that travels a shitload when they get older.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you ever done a trip abroad with just your boys? Like
No.
Not your sons, like your friends.
No.
Okay, so
No.
it's pretty much you've done some like vacations with like a wife or a girlfriend.
I've gone I can literally tell you I've gone to Ireland.
Family trip?
That was a family trip. Then I've gone to Paris with my wife, Hawaii with my wife, and then a bunch of beach vacations.
Down in the Caribbean or something like that?
Yeah. Cabo,
Okay.
Cancun,
Yeah.
Hawaii, Bahamas. That's about it.
Okay.
Not exactly a world traveler. Toronto? Does that count?
Oh, yeah.
for
Toronto's
sure.
a great city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
Toronto's
I've been, though, I would say that I'm up there with the most well-traveled in the United States. Like, I've been to a lot of places
Yeah.
in the United States just from our work.
Right.
And, like, traveling around, doing road trips, that kind of stuff.
Have you been to Seattle?
I've been to Seattle.
Okay.
I liked Seattle. I liked Portland a little more than Seattle. Seattle has the highway that like blocks the. Have you been to Seattle?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So they have the highway that like blocks the basically like to the bay, and that bothered me.
Yeah.
But you also get to see when you're in Seattle a bunch of different cool ways to camp.
Yeah, you get there's like
because there's a lot of homeless people?
yeah. There's a lot of interesting ways to live on the street in
Yeah.
Seattle.
Okay.
They really
Yeah.
got to figure it out.
I got that in New York, though, too. I don't think I need to
Yeah,
travel to
that's
the
true.
West Coast for
But
that.
not as creative.
No,
But they-
Seattle's very creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do these look like spots you would want to live,
It
maybe,
looks
for
like
a
if
week?
a homeless guy got access to an REI.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they do it well.
Do the homeless people ever make, like, tree forts in Seattle?
Yeah, dude. Like, like when you went to go do the wild honey shit, and
Yeah.
how they'll have like tents that are up against the.
On, like, a cliff?
They'll do that, but it's up against like the overpass of
The highway, yeah.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
It's pretty sick.
That is sick. I would
Yeah.
like to live there for 2 nights and then
should
move
try.
back into my
Airbnb
apartment.
homeless person
Yeah.
Seattle life.
Yeah.
I thought about doing some content where I, like, as a challenge or like a live stream, I try to go homeless for a few nights. Then I was like, some people might be very offended
I would
by
say
that.
so. Yeah, that sounds. Let's leave that to Mr. Beast.
Yeah, like our like horrible poverty and hardships is not your content.
Yeah, right. Just being cosplaying as a
Yeah.
homeless person. Yeah, that's probably not.
Who was it? The dude from wasn't he from
There was a-
Wu Tang's? He was from Wu Tang and he went to Skid Row. He
Yeah,
won like a
and lived
Oscar
there for a
that.
bit.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think a mayor did that once. Like
Oh,
he
Cory Booker. I think it's the
he went
Senator
homeless
Booker.
for a bit just to like see what it's like and experience it.
Yeah, Newark.
That's
Okay.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Before we get into talking about Madison, though, we got to address why does PFT keep on copying your vacations?
Okay, so that's a good question.
Because you guys ended up in France at the same time.
The France one I think was just he was in the south of France. I was in Paris, so we were. That's very different vacations.
Yeah.
The most recent one, Bahamas, that was strictly PFT. Like I told him I was going to the Bahamas, and then he just forgot that I said that, and then like a month later was like, I'm thinking about going to the Bahamas, and said the exact place I told him I was going. But I mean, it was good. I mean, you know, he came out to dinner with my friends, and like we had a good time. But yeah, that was just him just forgetting.
Yes.
Like you and PFT actually have some similarities in that, where you could tell someone something, and then like 2 months later, they're like, what are you talking about? I came up with this myself.
I do that too.
I think no, it's not. It's like a.
What?
Well, no,
I love it.
I'm sure it has happened, but I don't think that's a reoccurring thing for me.
No, it's not a recurring thing. I think I think your brains are similar in that you guys are like highly creative brains.
Yeah.
And maybe not like as detail oriented.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like free thinkers.
Yeah.
Which you need that. Like I think that's why PFT and I work well together. Is like I'm very like I set the schedule, and he is a free thinker, and it's like a good yin and yang.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what happened with like Dane Cook and Louis C.K. Like Louis C.K. accused Dane of stealing one of his jokes. It was like a big thing, but then they finally addressed it on a show, and he was just like, yeah, I take in a lot of information, like, and then a few years later, I just accidentally said one of your jokes, not being like, oh, this is a Louis C.K. joke I'm going to steal. Like
it happens. Like I try not to listen to too many sports podcasts, because that will happen where it's like you will listen to something, it like internalize it, and then 2 weeks later you'll just say it, and people are like, hey, you just ripped this person off. I'm like, I didn't mean to.
Yes.
I just was.
We used to get that all the time on Twitter. Like when I first started here, like you guys just copy each other. It's like,
Right.
no, we joke about similar things. So it's going to be similar.
And PFT and I do have like a lot of parallel mind stuff that this is like going back to when we first met, whereas like the reason we first met was people were accusing each other of stealing from each other. And it's like, no, we do have a pretty good parallel mind thing where our brains go to the same places a lot of times.
and born like one day apart or
One
born
day
on
apart.
The same?
One day, yeah, like I'm 30 hours older than him.
It's crazy.
Isn't it?
It's so weird.
It's insane. It's so weird.
The,
Yeah, he's my life partner.
He really is.
Like
You honestly probably spend more time with your work partner than your actual like romantic partner.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like it's a testament to our relationship that we were
And no divorce. in
no
10
divorce. Yeah, we
10
had
years, yeah.
we had Stavi on, which I don't know when it's coming out for PMT, but we were just talking about how like there was that like Cumtown and Jesus and Marrow, like they were all like breaking up, and they started around the same time as us. And like PFT and I had to look at each other and be like, "Are we good?" Yeah, like all of our friends are getting divorced.
You
Like,
guys are going
what's
to be
good?
the new Mike and Mike.
Yeah, right. We're good, right? So yeah, it's I'm very lucky to have a life partner like PFT.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, I'm excited to talk about Madison because I've never been. It's so close to Chicago. It's just like an hour and a half.
It's about two. It's like two. If you go on with no traffic, 205.
Okay.
Traffic 230.
Yeah. So
No problem.
I would
Yeah, like
say
I did it with Gruden. I went up Saturday morning, drove up there, drove right back. So yeah, it's a day trip for sure.
You're a little bit biased, but would you rank it as like
Number
definitely
one.
as the number one college town
Yeah.
in America? I would say it looks cool on a map. Built on an isthmus.
Yes.
It's a little spit of
I
land.
know you're an isthmus guy.
Oh, it's
Huge
awesome.
isthmus, guys. There's not enough
No.
towns built on isthmuses.
Panama's the only one that really gets a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm obviously very biased. I've been to a lot of college towns. There's some really great college towns. I think Madison has the best. It's basically, if you envisioned what you'd want in a perfect college town, it checks all those boxes. The only negative is the winter sucks. But it is, yeah, and whenever I take someone there, I think that's what passes the test for me. When I take someone there, they immediately are like, this fucking rocks. Yeah. So it's like I've been, not only, my biased thinking is it's number one, but then it's been confirmed by any time I take people there and they're like, oh yeah, I get it. I see what you're saying. This place is awesome.
How did you come across Madison, like in Wisconsin? What made you want to go there?
They were I want to say it was rolling admission, which was like, I don't know how they do admissions now. Rolling admission, they basically like, if you apply, they'll read your application right away and then just like be like yes or no.
Okay.
And so I think it was the first place I got accepted to. Like it was like 10 days, and then I went to visit it, and I visited Madison on like the first warm spring day. And I'm a big believer that if you go to any place on earth and the sun is out, you could be like, I could live here.
Dude, when we first started talking about moving up here, and we came, and it was like end of May. So in San Antonio, it was like 110 degrees. We get off the plane. It's like 58 degrees. We go. It's not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
The park had just started popping green. And I was like, how have we not lived here our whole fucking life?
If you hit
go
it,
someplace on spring, you're there. That's where you live now.
If you hit that no clouds in the sky, 60 to 80 degrees, let's call it, any place in the world, you'll be like, yep, I could see myself living here.
Yeah.
So I hit that, and it's the winter sucks, but you just drink your way through it. That's kind of the Wisconsin way.
And was it more of the school where you're drinking on campus, like in dorms and house parties, or were you guys going out to the bars there too a lot?
So the way Madison is set up, do you guys pull up visuals for the listeners? So the way Madison's set up, I don't know if you could do an aerial of Madison. It's really cool. So there's the campus, so the capital, so it's the state capital. So it's a real town, and that's kind of where I think it the perfect part of it comes to play is that it's not just. Like I've been to, if you guys been to Happy Valley in Penn State, like really, really nice. But the college is the only thing that's there.
Yes.
Madison is a town, is an actual city. The college is the number one thing that's there, but it's also like people working, and there's the state capitol, and there's really nice restaurants that are not just your Chipotle and Five Guys. So how Madison is set up, you have the Capitol. And then State Street that goes from the Capitol all the way down to the campus.
Oh.
And State Street has, 60 bars. So there's campus parties, but also like it becomes obviously when you get older or, with a fake ID, which I had, the bars are a big deal in Madison.
Let's go.
Yeah. I don't know.
And they're not known for being super strict on fakes?
I mean, there was definitely, they would do the thing where every year the cops would just show up to a bar and like close the front doors and then go like person to person checking.
Yeah.
But you just had to know which bars to kind of stay away from. I think I started going to the bars, when I was 18. You just got to be, also Wisconsin has a fun drinking law that if you are under 21, but you're in a bar with your parents, you can drink.
Yep. In Texas, they have the same kind of thing. But
yeah.
If your wife is underneath 21, you can give her permission to drink.
Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting.
That's like a huge thing in Ireland as well. Like a dad will bring his 4 or 5-year-old son to the bar with him, and then some bars have like a play area for kids.
Yeah, like a McDonald's play place.
Yeah, McDonald's playpen. I like that. Like
that makes being a parent better, legitimately. Like,
yes.
As your kid gets older, one thing that some of our friends have started doing is if you have like a kid's birthday party, throw out some beer, throw out some wine, and it makes all of that shit so much better.
Yeah, it's a very European thing. I read something about like how European parents, there aren't a lot of children places in Europe. Because a lot of the European parents, like, they just take their kids with them to do their regular life. Where in America, it's like, oh, it's the weekend. We got to go to the climb zone. We got to go to the trampoline park.
Yeah.
Like,
the slime factory.
Yeah, the slime factory. Oh, I hate the slime factory. But yeah, so that's kind of the setup of the city. And it's really cool that way because you can just walk to all the bars and the lake is right there. So I lived for actually 3 years, right by the lake, like 2 blocks from the lake. So in the summer, we would fish, we'd swim. There's boating. The lake freezes over in the winter, so there's parties on the lake in the winter. And then the Union, which I don't know if this is still a fact. It was 20 years ago when I was in school. The Union is, I think, one of the only unions in the country that serves beer. So I don't know if you can pull up the Union, the terrace. It's like right on the lake, and there's a bunch of tables out, and they have like live music, and this is all part of the campus, and it's very cool, and it's like a great vibe. Yeah, there it is.
Shit.
Yeah, so that's what it looked like. That's where we would go as soon as it gets warm out. You go sit at the Union, and they have beer.
Oh damn!
And you just hang out right on the lake.
That's
yeah,
fucking dope.
So
that looks fucking sweet.
Yeah, like there's not a lot of schools that have this kind of setup where it's like. You obviously have you have the city, you have the bars, but then you also have a huge lake that you can kind of hang out at all summer long.
Is it real gray like it is here in the winter?
Yeah, it's gray in the winter. Yeah, I mean, the winter sucks. What are you going to do? But again, like I would just not go to class and I would just get drunk before I went out. And then you just, you get drunk enough that you're warm.
That other 8.5, 9 months is great.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've heard you say this take numerous times, but it's the best feeling if it's like a very cold winter's day and you've been inside a warm bar for the last like 3 hours, getting drunk, and then that first like step outside.
It's the best.
Oh, yeah.
Big deep breath of the cold air.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because you're in that bar and it's the feeling of like heat, like artificial heat kind of sucks. It makes your skin dry, and then you get outside and it just fucking hits you. It's just like, this is so
Sobering,
good.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you ever swim in that lake?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Sick.
Yeah, yeah. It was very fun. Yeah, especially like, I did 2 summers in Madison. The summer obviously great, but also there's a welcome week, which is basically everyone goes back to school a week before classes start, and it's just a party for an entire week. And it's still, it's August.
Yeah.
So it's like late August, and it's so much fun. And
Ultimate sundress
swims.
season, I would imagine.
Yeah, and it's just a great, great time.
Were there like seniors on campus that had their own boat already? Or
Not as many boats. We did have right by where we lived, there was a dude who had a boat that was docked, like it was like buoyed, like, I don't know, 30 feet off the coast. And we would just go and swim and just party in his boat. That guy probably didn't like that. We would just sit in the boat
there's
and drink.
nothing better than drinking beers
We
on a
made
boat.
sure we'd clean up after. But yeah, shout out that guy, whoever that boat was. We partied a lot in your boat.
Nice.
You pull that picture up and show it to somebody, there's no chance anyone says, I bet that's Wisconsin.
Yeah, right. You think like, oh, cow farms and
Yeah.
and like cold winters, and yeah, it is cold winter, but yeah, the picturesque Union and just how it all looks is pretty cool.
Like the way that is set up, that terrace is set up, it looks legit like Italy. Like it looks like the coast.
Yeah, we just go play like cards right by the like we on a Friday afternoon, go get a couple pitchers, sit there with friends, play cards, live music, pretty awesome.
Would you and the boys ever make a pilgrimage to Wisconsin Dells?
I've been to the Dells, Cruising Chubby's, which is a well-known strip club. There's also a casino there. Didn't do as much of the water parks, although I've been to the water parks. But yeah, we do that probably like maybe twice a year, where it'd be a late night decision. Like, hey, let's just like someone's sober, they can drive. We'll just go to the Dells and go to the casino till like 6 a.m.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been there once, and it kind of blew my mind because, like, you think all these water parks it's just going to be kids, and there are tons of kids, but each water park just has this giant aquatic bar, which feels like a normal sports bar that you would go to, like somewhere in the Midwest, but it's just filled with 5 feet of water.
Yeah, it's white trash heaven.
Yeah,
it's a
Do
bunch
they have
of
adult-only ones?
yeah, they have like adult only.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pool
There's a lot of
bars.
indoor water parks. And like I said, I mean, the name of the strip club is Cruising Chubby's, which is a great name for a strip club.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Dells was fun. Also, like other lakes, if you go further into Wisconsin and like Minnesota, like I had a friend who was from the Minneapolis area. He had a lake house right on the border, so we'd go up there. Lakes are fun in the summer.
Lake
Lot
house
of
life
fun.
up here is awesome.
So much fun.
You doing it again this year?
I am going to be going back to Michigan. Yeah, but that's not like a small lake. Obviously, it's Lake Michigan. But yeah,
New Buffalo is so
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, that whole area is really, really nice.
Yeah, especially if you like weed, like the amount of dispensaries.
Oh
that are
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
It's like every 2 blocks.
I went up there on Saturday right before 420, which was a huge mistake. Didn't even think about it. And the lines at New Buffalo were wrapped around the building like 2 or 3 times. Like it was legitimately insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What college campuses have you guys been to?
Tufts.
We got to
which
get
is
you to
like
Madison.
Yeah, no, it's actually on my U.S. bucket list. My U.S. bucket list is the Pacific Northwest, Madison, Wisconsin, and Pensacola, Florida. I've never been there. Is that it?
Ole Miss, I heard, their campus is beautiful.
Ole Miss is nice, but that's another one where it's like a little bit. It's the campus, the school is the town.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Madison beats a lot of places because it's, again, there's a real town. You
That's
know what
how
I mean?
Florida
There's a real
State
city.
is, but Florida State sucks.
Yeah, like
FSU's campus is terrible.
Yeah.
I lived in Clemson, South Carolina for 2 football seasons.
Yeah, that's a small town.
Small town, one of the darkest chapters of my life. But yeah, because there wasn't a lot to do.
Yeah.
And I was 29 at the time or 28, just like living in a small college town.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot to do. But
there's like if you were 28, 29 in Madison, you'd have more than enough to do. Like I have a few friends who just stayed in Madison after we graduated, and like that's where they live now. And like it's the way it's set up, State Street, like I said, it goes from the campus all the way to the Capitol. The closer you get to the Capitol, like the bars get a little older. So you could easily find a bar that is in Madison that's not a college bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure for around the office, one of the questions was that I was thinking about doing what street has the most bars on it, and it was
State Street.
State Street.
Is it?
I'm pretty
What's
sure.
the actual number? I don't know what the actual number would be. It would have to be. Actually, I don't even want to take a guess because that'd be stupid to take a guess.
Another question you could do is what state drinks the most per capita?
That's definitely
Wisconsin.
It's Wisconsin.
It's like they always have the map of
it's
like
Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota.
But yeah, that thing is, I didn't realize this until I moved to Chicago, and it's even bigger in Wisconsin. Every grocery store usually has a bar.
Yeah. The only thing that sucks about Wisconsin law, and I don't know if this has changed because it's been 20 years. The liquor stores close at 9 p.m. So there was a lot of times where we would be like 8:45 and be like, fuck, we forgot to get like more beer. And then we'd have to rush to the liquor store and get more. So that always like bugged me because like 9 p.m. is so early.
That is early.
Yeah, especially if you're like having a good time in the afternoon and you just kind of lose track of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there it is. State Street. How many?
100 cafes, restaurants, and bars.
Yeah. So it's just littered, and it's got great restaurants. Cool bars of all types. Like there's great. Like there was my favorite bar in Madison, or one of my favorite bars is called the Plaza. Total dive bar. One of those places you go in, and there's like a 99% chance that like Castaway is on one of the TVs with no sound. You know what I mean? You know that type of bar?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, why is Castaway on?
Yeah.
And
but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, or like Godfather, and it's 4 hours long because there's commercials.
Yeah.
There's the Plaza. Look, it's got bubble hockey. Yeah, it's real.
Oh,
and like the people at the Plaza. Yeah, there it is. That's a beautiful picture. Of the Plaza.
Looks like a place that Eddie could set up shop for sure.
Yeah, and like if you order food at the Plaza, they're kind of pissed off. You know what I mean? They're kind of like, well, this is annoying, but they do have pretty good burgers. So yeah, that place that was the bar that was the closest bar to my house. So we would do, especially on I think Thursday nights, it was $1 Long Island iced teas. So we would I would just go with like $10 and just be shit faced, and like not have to deal with the cold.
Yeah,
Long Island iced tea might be the scariest drink. Like when you first start drinking. Because it doesn't taste like booze, and you are going to be fucked up.
Yeah.
It's got like 6 different types of booze.
And that, I don't know, if you guys, like what college campuses, like I said, you've been to, but one of the best parts about college, or not the best part, but a cool part that you kind of don't realize exists in the outside world is all these bars that have these deals. You know what I mean? Like there was a deal at the KK, which is kind of the classic bar that is always got a line down the block. They had it was like $2 pitchers on Fridays. There was another place called Brats that had flip night. So you'd go up and they'd flip a coin. And if you got it right, you'd get half off.
Okay.
So that's very fun.
That's right up your fucking alley.
But it's also like it's a game basically of like you're sitting with your friends and you're like, all right, it's my turn to go get the round, hoping that it will be half off. They also had at Brats, they had stock market night. Have you guys ever been to a stock market night?
Yes. Yeah.
So much fun.
What is that?
So they basically have a live stock market for all the drinks. So like if everyone's ordering Coors Light, the price of a Coors Light goes up. So, but then you can run up there and be like, oh, Pabst Blue Ribbon, no one's ordering it. It's now $1.25.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's so much fun. So you just watch the board.
And it's a great way to get rid of your old beer.
Correct. Yeah. So it's like the market will go up and down. Yeah.
The problem with those deals, though, is I worked as a bartender in a college town, and we would have like $3 slushy night. College kids don't really understand how to tip.
Correct.
So they'd be like, "Oh, it's $3," and then I would
Correct.
only get $3 a slushy the whole night and
Correct.
be making below minimum wage.
Yeah, and like all these places have the deals. Yeah. Buffalo Wild Wings used to have 50-cent leg nights, like the big ones.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, the big ones. You know what I'm talking about?
I know
didn't even
about
know they had
turkey
those.
legs.
It's like not turkey legs. I don't know what.
Yeah,
they probably don't have
drumstick.
it anymore.
Yeah, like a
drumstick.
drumstick.
Okay.
Yeah, but like you eat 5 of those, so it's like $2.50, and you're having a full meal.
So like Dave clearly has his happy places. It's like Saratoga and Nantucket. If you were ever to buy a second home, do you have a spot in mind where you'd be like, it would have to be here?
Madison would actually be on the list. It would be pretty cool to get a place in Madison, especially on the lake.
On the lake for the summers, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about Lake Geneva, New Buffalo in Michigan. I don't know. I also like Arizona a lot. I don't know where I'm not the problem with the second place with little kids is like how often am I going to use it? It has to be kind of a drive for at least like I can't be like I'm going to get a place in Scottsdale.
Yeah. If you were to buy a second place, you would have to know I can at least me and the whole family are going to go there for 1 month of the year.
Correct.
Just live there for a full month.
So it probably
New
would
Buffalo,
be
the lakes around here are so nice.
yeah, it would probably be New Buffalo in Michigan just because I don't know if I'm a boat owner guy. I don't think I can. I don't think I have it in me to own a boat.
Yeah.
So like having a place on Lake Michigan, you don't really have to have a boat because it's a real beach, and then could just rent a boat.
I had a boat when
Or
I first started here, and that shit sucks.
Right.
When you have to like put it on a trailer, bring it out. But you're in a place financially where you can get a harbor.
Right.
Like where you can, all you have to do is show up and drive. Like I feel like that you could definitely be a
but
boat
then
guy
like
now.
having to deal with it,
Yeah.
I would just much rather like if in my perfect world it would be getting a place on Lake Michigan in Michigan. And then having like one of those timeshare boat services where it's like
Yeah.
I know I
Yeah.
can go on a boat
Yeah.
10 times a year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would go on the boat enough to for the cost.
Hank has that. Like Hank's in a boat club here,
Right.
but he didn't really end up using it that much.
Right.
This past like a lot of days, he'd be like, "I want to take the boat out." They'd be like, "It's too windy to go on the lake."
Right. So and like if I did the opposite, if I did like a Lake Geneva or a small lake in Wisconsin, I think I would max out at a pontoon because that is the pontoon boat
life.
is
That's what you want.
They
anyway.
basically
Yeah.
they should stop making boats after they made the pontoon.
They perfected it.
It's a living room on water.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's like you're not really boating, you're just really kind of chilling.
It's Kate's dream to have one, and she wants to name it Large Marge the Party Barge.
Yeah. The best is like old.
Large.
Have you ever been on like an old pontoon? Like my friend used to have an old pontoon that didn't even have seats. So you would just bring
Oh, yeah.
you would just bring your seats with you.
Legit
to
a dock.
pontoons.
Yeah, it's
It's a
just
dock.
yeah, it's a dock that can move.
It's just it's literally a moving dock, and you just go and you'd get one of those. You'd get a plastic chair, and you just sit on the.
Yeah.
That's living.
I think that's the coolest part of Chicago. When I moved here, I have a friend who's in that same boat club as Hank, and like on like a Friday at like 4 or 5, I'd be like, "Do you want to come for a happy hour on the river?" And he'll just take his boat out on the river, and you're right in downtown Chicago.
Yes.
There's crushing beers. There's like giant tourist boats coming by and
Yeah.
stuff, like those tour boats. And like you can't do that in like Manhattan. You can't be like, "I'm going to go for a little like pleasure cruise on the East River after
Right.
work."
Right. Living that close to water is pretty. It's pretty nice.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's like cleanish water. Like I swam in the East River, but I wouldn't recommend that.
I remember
anyone
it.
else
Yeah, you left from
does
you
that.
left from my
Yeah.
house. Yeah, that was. That
Didn't
was
you
wild.
like bring your son to like?
Yeah, to wave. I was like, yeah, he's gonna get in the river. What? Even I think he was like 3 years old, and even he knew that was a really dumb idea.
This guy's a wild card.
Very dumb. But here in Chicago, because all the waste flows down the river towards St. Louis, like you can just go for a swim in the lake. And
I would.
swim.
Yeah, I wouldn't swim in the river still here.
No,
but
that-
yes, the lake is. Yeah, it's
No
beautiful.
city has ever been cucked like St. Louis did with the water.
Yeah.
We turned it.
Yeah,
Like it was intentionally.
yeah, yeah.
Which is-
Reversed it. Yeah,
Which is crazy.
it is crazy.
And St. Louis is like, all right,
right,
we'll take
we'll
all your
take it.
poop. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take it. What about for you having done a lot of like international travel? If you're setting up like a sports tourism and you could do any international event, where would you go?
Ooh, international.
Yeah, there's
Like
if there's
sports
one
and
sporting event
location.
abroad.
Sports location and event.
I would probably go to a World Cup game somewhere. When I was in Paris, the World Cup that the France team won was going on, which was very cool. So like my wife and I went to like a cafe and watched a game like in like the quarterfinals, which was a very cool experience. Like everyone going crazy. I don't really give a fuck about international sports, so.
Are you still a Wait, but are you still a partial owner of a New Zealand basketball team?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, New Zealand, I know that's very high on PFT's list, the place he wants to go.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Australia.
Yeah, but then that's also like you're not a big long flight guy, and that's as long as you can get.
No, I do not like long flights.
Okay.
I do not.
New Zealand's probably out then.
Yeah, New Zealand's for sure out. But yeah, I don't really know. I've been to pretty much every sporting event in the U.S. and I'm going to stick with that.
Okay, you're not like, I got to go to Wimbledon or I got to.
I guess going to like an
Premier
Olympics would be cool. Yeah, Wimbledon, no, fuck that.
Okay,
tennis is boring. Maybe like a big soccer game.
Ryder Cup at St. Andrews or something.
Yeah.
The World Cup is coming to the U.S. next, so I'm sure Barstool will do some content around that, and you'll be able to get to a game or two.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go to a
Bring
game.
back.
But yeah, no, I don't really.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll watch it on TV.
Unfortunately, no games here in Chicago because the city wasn't willing to pay anything for it.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think Kansas City's the closest spot.
Yeah, I don't. I'll just stick with the U.S. in terms of sports.
I meant to pitch this content idea to Portnoy, but I forgot. So I'll just pitch it to you. I know you can't officially give it the green light.
I might be able to.
Okay. I think it's a genius idea. I mean, Dave, we hired Nicky Smokes just because Smokes won a bet.
Right.
And now, he might have a job for life. Who knows? But my idea is I fly to Australia with a contract in hand, just a 1-year contract, not a super high salary, just something that one guy could live on, and I try to find the first Barstool Australia employee. And so I could kind of be like, okay, we're holding auditions here at this bar in Sydney or something, because
I like it.
A lot of people in Australia love Barstool Sports. I'm sure you've had Australian callers on the Yak and stuff. And
I like that. I think you should do it.
Yeah, because almost every Australian male I've met, they love sports, gambling, and booze.
And dick jokes.
Yes, and dick jokes. Yeah. So I feel like it would be a small investment, just like a 1 year, one salary for one guy that I find. And I wouldn't need final say on who we hire. I could just find the finalists and then send their videos or do a live stream back to the office here.
Yep.
And then you guys could help choose
greenlit
who gets a contract.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I think
like it.
It's got a very high ceiling. Worst that happens is he doesn't really pan out. We just don't renew his contract.
Yeah. The only negative to it that I would see is that all Australians are funny just because of their accents. So we'd have to kind of weed through that.
Yeah, that's why.
If you do this show, I'm going to say we should hire all of them because they all sound funny to me.
Just
so we got to find
everybody.
the actual funniest guy. You might.
Well, no, that's why you would need 10 people to see back to back to back, so you could compare who is funny compared to the other Australians.
You also would maybe I don't know how we do it, but try to find someone who's a very big Barstool fan in Australia who doesn't want to move, who could be a judge with you. So we can get, you know what I mean? So he knows Australia, he knows what's funny and what's not.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just base it all off accent, which I would again.
Yeah.
I would, if I could, I'd clean house tomorrow and just fill this place with Australians.
Well, here's the thing. I don't even think if we hired an Australian, I don't think we would bring him to the U.S. There's probably a lot of red tape about hiring a foreign.
Fuck it. We should bring him to the U.S.
Okay. I was thinking he would just work from Australia. And then
that's a little tough with the time zones, right?
But then it's the blog don't sleep. He could be pumping out content while all of us are asleep.
I think that he'd have to move here. I think that would be the way to really do it correctly.
And then would you want him
That's an unfair advantage
to cover
in the office, though.
Australian sports and stuff, just to build our
No, I don't
Australian
give a fuck
following.
about Australian sports.
But it might help
just
us
be Australian.
You just want him to be Australian here in the office.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we'd have to look at the blog numbers and how big we are in Australia. Because I guess if he could cover Australian sports and people were reading it and tuning in, then it's worth it. But
yeah,
then that also comes to how does the advertising work? Are advertisers actually caring that we're big in Australia?
Yes, is DraftKings looking to expand to Australia at some point? I don't know.
Yeah, what's that gross
they'd be
thing
able
that they
to.
eat in Australia? The
Oh,
Vegemite.
Vegemite,
He's like,
yes.
what's our Vegemite budget? Like, how much is Vegemite going to pay us?
Dude, because all he would need is like
Vegemite
one.
should be an advertiser on this show.
If we could get the Australian guy just one local Australian sponsor, that would pay for his salary probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
All
should
right.
try to get Steve Irwin's son, Robert.
Yeah.
He's in the content game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
And he's hot now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Are you saying that because he's over 18 now?
I'm just saying it because I
He's
saw
hot
him with,
now? Okay,
I
yeah.
hope he is.
No, he is hot.
Yeah, I saw him with his shirt off.
He's a good-looking guy. How old is he?
I mean that.
Not in that picture.
Let's make sure.
We got to do recent. How old is he?
21. There
Okay,
we
we're
go.
good. Whew.
All right. He could be a Barstool fan
Oh, he's
already.
on Dancing with the Stars, too.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
He might be too big.
might
for
be
Yeah,
the
he might
budget.
already
Yeah.
be too big. We got to find someone.
Well, we
but,
got Gruden.
but that's why.
True.
If we could
Robert Irvin's
hire an
not bigger than
Australian who
Gruden.
stays in Australia and just does like Croc Hunter style vids,
Very cool.
That would be huge.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Big Cat, you have also tentatively agreed that for the Baldstool season 2, we want to hold a competition here
Yes.
in the office where we bring in like 10 to 15 bald stoolies, and the winner of it gets the free flight to Turkey and a free transplant.
Yep.
And I was thinking the Yak could kind of help host
Yep.
that because you guys have done dating shows in the past.
But I
and-
want it
and game
clear
shows.
because I'm all in on this. I want ugly too.
I want ugly and I want poor.
I want
ugly,
someone
poor,
who,
bald stoolies.
Yeah, I want
But
someone who's
super ugly is bad because then even with the hair, they're going to be
That's
not
what I
handsome.
want. No, that's what I want.
You want
I
to
want
still
them
be
to get their
atrocious.
hair fixed and it's be like you're still struggling here.
But it,
I don't
it
want
would
to.
help.
I don't want to change a life. I want to like marginally improve a life.
Where they have like
It
huge hopes and they're like, damn it.
Yeah, like the fatter,
Still fucking
uglier,
ugly.
baldest guy we can find, and it's like, all right, I guess you can get the hair transplant, but it's probably not going to help a lot. I want that.
I think it would still
What about
change
the
their
whole
life,
kit and
though.
caboodle?
Like,
Like
it's-
everything.
Yeah.
Because we're still going to have the opportunity for like stoolies who are willing to pay. Like some of them will just be able to come, but I want to change one guy's life who's just like would never.
No, I
have
don't want to change his
the
life.
money
Are
to
you
ever.
one of the
wanna
ones that,
again-
hey, dude, are you one of the ones
Yo,
that paid? Oh, man, I'm just
Marginally
ugly.
improve someone's life.
All right.
Yeah.
But I think even just for them to get a free trip to Turkey, like that could
Correct.
also be that could be huge for them.
Right. Especially if they're as ugly as I'm imagining.
Now, what about if we
I think we'll have
Barbied
no
somebody?
trouble
I
finding them.
I want this competition. I want them to take my breath away. I want to be like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
That's
like,
the ugliest guy I've ever seen.
Can we get somebody and not just do hair, but try to take somebody from super ugly to attractive?
Yeah.
Oh, if we pay for just a
Like
full-on face
how
job,
they used to
Yeah.
do that Extreme Makeover Face Edition
Yeah.
show, like where we take somebody that's legitimately ugly and try to make them into like
Short
a
too.
7-8.
Yeah, short, break their legs.
Yeah.
break their legs.
Yes.
liposuction,
Yeah.
rhinoplasty, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Try to,
let's
like
do
some
it.
of those uggos, try to make them like average. That
Yeah.
would be fun content.
It would be very fun.
Yeah. And they can't be fully like clean shaven. They need to just have some like random strands of hair.
Oh, I want it.
yeah.
Yeah, I want their
Yeah.
hair to be just an absolute mess. Where it's like they're one of those guys who's holding on, where they have like a really bad comb over.
Yeah.
Like I don't want just a bald guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need it to be just horrendous.
Okay.
Again, it needs to
think-
be like Nightmare.
I think we can make that happen very easily.
Who's going to apply to this now that I've set the
Mantis will be
stage?
back.
Like that's such a brutal thing to be
Mantis
like.
has a great head of hair.
He has
Don't
a great
apply
hair,
unless
but
you
the rest
are-
of it, he'd be a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't apply unless you're horrific looking.
And then we also need to feel bad for them. Like I want them each to share their most like embarrassing story as a bald man or
Yeah.
something like that. And then
Yeah.
both-
They've been bullied.
yeah.
Yeah.
People-
I assume Tiny Dick will come with it.
Yes. Now, can they? I think Miami's where you want to go if you're trying to get your dick made bigger.
You can do that?
Yeah, they have a lot of dick
Oh
doctors.
my god, I don't even know what that fucking No, Goldfinger, what are you doing, dude? He started fucking Googling penis enlargement.
Sam's
Are
like
you
the biggest cock.
idiot?
Yeah.
No.
We had
I
a
think
segment
they-
where you talk about different countries you go to for different like augmentation surgeries. I
Oh,
was
so
wondering
what's the,
where
like,
you go.
penis
No,
enlargement
don't
capital of the
Google that
world?
though.
I think you could Google penis enlargement capital of the world.
We're gonna end up having to see just weird
That's
misshapen
okay. We'll
cocks.
take a
Yeah.
look.
I wasn't gonna go to images.
Okay.
We'll take a
Images
look.
were gonna pop up.
One of the surgeries, I think they just move your dick a little bit further out of your body, and that can give you an inch.
Oh.
Because your dick always it goes like into your body a bit. They just
optical
move
illusion.
the whole thing out a little
Got
bit.
it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And
Nice.
It's like replanting a tree.
yeah.
yes. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, Dan. Well, I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah. I guess my last question. Did you know of Jocko?
The podcaster
No, Jocko the squirrel.
at Madison.
Yes. I get.
When was Jocko?
I have no idea. I guess there was once a squirrel named Jocko so beloved at University of Wisconsin that Madison students held a memorial for him.
What year was this?
There's a plaque commemorating him on Bascom Hill.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe that was after you graduated. I'm not sure.
What years? Do we have the years of Jocko? There was a guy named Scanner Dan who rocked, who I think has passed away. He would just sit on State Street with his police scanner and just yell at everyone, and that was awesome.
I think
Yeah.
that's one of the big police scanner. Like I used to follow a bunch of those for blogging purposes on Saturday mornings, and Madison's police scanner was always really
Yeah, and like Madison has some homeless people, but they also become part of like the culture where it's
Yeah.
like you recognize them and they I don't know, they're kind of part of like the scene.
Yeah. Do you have any last tips for flying with kids? Have you flown with your kids a lot?
I've flown with my kids.
Okay. I think you mentioned on the Yak the Duna stroller.
Yeah.
That's that like. It's
I mean,
like
I have
made for travel.
I have a tip. This is a tough conversation for me. I mean, my tip is to make enough money to be able to fly private with your kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That actually.
It's not really a relatable tip.
yes, but no, but that brings up a good point. When was your very first time flying private? Because that must have been very cool. Now, when you fly private, it's a very just like run of the mill.
Yeah. Actually, the first time flying private was with Jay Cutler. I was in Nashville and we flew back to Chicago. So that was like, I don't know, 2013 maybe.
And you guys just naturally became friends when you were living in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because like he knew you from
He
working
just
at.
liked Barstool, yeah. And we just became friends. I went to his bachelor party.
That's a pretty sweet perk of the job.
Yeah. I mean, I got frozen out for like 6 years because I said I'd take Andy Dalton over him, but I think we're back. We've hung out a couple times the last few years.
Okay.
So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, it's look, I don't fly private. Like I'm not like Dave. I'm not flying private everywhere I go. But the like 2 or 3 times that I go on vacation with my kids, they're just so young. I'm just like, it's a worthy expense for me.
Yes.
When I'll say it this way, when they're in their when like my kids are in like their young teens or, you know, when my youngest is, I don't know, 7 years old, we won't fly private. You know what I mean? Like that will be like, all right, we can. But at this point in my life, I'm just not dealing with a 5, 3, and 1 year old for an entire trip.
But not just that for you, like the process of being there, you're trying to wrangle all your kids and take pictures with people.
Right. So
it's a whole
we will
different level of
stop
thing.
doing the private thing, but for right now, yeah, that would be my only tip with flying with kids is make enough money to fly private with them.
Good tip.
When did the like?
It is a really sound strategy.
It really is.
How many private flights did it take though for the allure to wear off? Like now when you're doing the
I don't
college
think it
football
ever
show,
wears off.
but now the college football show is just like a run of the mill thing. We're just hopping on a private
It doesn't,
plane.
but the convenience of it never gets old. Like
Okay,
I never take it for granted. I'm not like, oh man, you know, whatever, another trip. It's just like, this is awesome. I drive up, I get on the plane, I finish the show, get back on the plane, go home.
Okay.
It's pretty sick.
Yes.
Dave has said it before, like that's the one thing that like he like the one thing that being rich like that really changed his life was like traveling private. And again, Dave does it a lot more. Dave does it everywhere. But like the Met Gala, we're going to the Met Gala. Like it's more, you know what it is more than anything is like I really appreciate the time that I'm able to save. You know what I mean? Like the Met Gala going to Scottsdale, like if I wasn't flying private for that, it would be a 2-day trip. This is going to be a 12-hour trip. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't miss work. I'm able to get back in the rhythm right away. So that's really what it is. Like I'm able to be a lot more. I use private travel when it's an efficiency question.
Yeah, like when you guys are doing the college football show, sometimes you'll leave at like 6 in the morning, and then you're home by 2 p.m. or
Yeah,
something?
right. And I have to do that because I mean, Sunday I work all day, so it's
Yeah.
like I can't do a whole day where it's like I can't travel. I can't fly Friday night and come back Sunday morning and then work a whole day Sunday.
No.
And, like I wouldn't see my
Do
kids.
Absolutely
PMT
not.
at like
Yeah.
fucking 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. So you've been to almost every big college town in the country. Besides Madison, what would be the other 4 college towns that could be on the
4?
Mount? They're like, yeah, that could be on the Mount Rushmore of college towns.
Oh, good question. Let's see. The Arizonas are very cool. Goldfinger knows that. Arizona State and Arizona, very, very cool. But that's also like kind of a cheat code because it's like, it's just so nice.
Yeah, and they all have pools, like all the dorms.
Yeah,
have
they're doing it
pools,
on
right?
easy mode.
Yeah.
Iowa City is my favorite non-Madison Big Ten campus.
Really?
Very, very cool campus. Love that place. And then I really liked Auburn. I like Athens, Georgia. Very cool college town.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else I'm a big fan of. I mean, like the Big Ten campuses, like they're all, there's a lot of really good ones. Like Ann Arbor's good. Happy Valley, which I mentioned. Columbus is too big of a city to be like.
Yeah.
That's like where the city is bigger than the campus.
Yep.
Whereas like I said with Madison, it's kind of their equal par. And Bloomington is really nice, Indiana. But yeah, there's a lot of cool college
UVA's
campuses.
campus is sick.
Yeah.
I've never been to UVA. I got to check that out, although probably won't because they're not good at football.
Right.
What is Ann Arbor like? I've never been there.
Ann Arbor's nice. It's very nice. I think Madison, like there is a lake in Ann Arbor, but I don't think it's not right on campus.
Yeah.
But Ann Arbor's kind of like a picturesque college campus.
Okay.
But that's kind of what I was saying, like it's not a city as well. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It doesn't have that combo.
Yep.
And like just the sheer amount of bars in Madison and the lake puts it over the top.
Okay.
Like Dave went to Madison and he loved it.
yeah.
So, and I've been in
What's-
Ann Arbor
yeah.
a bunch, and it's nice. I'm not saying Ann Arbor's not nice. It's just I
What's
would take
the
Madison
harder
over it.
school to get into? Ann Arbor.
Michigan.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
Michigan's
Michigan.
very
Yeah,
hard
because
to
I
get
remember
into.
Dave saying he didn't get accepted, but they were like, if you apply to the nursing school or
Yeah, the
teaching-
back door in.
Yeah, the back door in.
Yeah, Michigan I think is very hard to get into.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they're pretentious like that.
Yep.
They're very pretentious.
Were you friends with any of the Wisconsin athletes when you were there?
So I was friends. Yeah, I was friends with the apartment we lived in. The floor below us was a bunch of football players that we became good friends with.
Oh, nice.
So a couple of them, Nick Hayden, he went to the NFL I think he played in the NFL for like 7 or 8 years. There's a quarterback, Ty Donovan, who was good, had a big game against Iowa when I was there. We went to that game. It was awesome. So yeah, really cool guy. Sean Lewis, who actually is the coach he was offensive coordinator for Dion 2 years ago. He's a coach at San Diego State now. Really good dude. So yeah, there were some dudes that we were friends with. That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and like Madison's also big mopeds.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they all had mopeds. I had a moped. It was so shitty; it would break down all the time. I actually just left it in the middle of campus when it broke down the last time.
what you
Also,
gotta do.
I would siphon gas from my friends' mopeds when I would run out of gas, and I've drank some gasoline from that. Comes out way faster than you think.
It does. Once it gets going,
Yeah.
it really
Oh my
goes.
God.
It's an art form.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, this was fun.
Appreciate
it. And then now you can Google the penis thing.
Yep.
Goldfinger. I know you want to, you pervert.
Now
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
get to Cox.
Today's episode of Drop a Pin is brought to you by our friends at Blue Chew. You can have some better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong, it'll knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks. They're going to be hearing you grunting and groaning like you do, getting down all nasty because you got
And
Blue
moaning.
Chew. And moaning. Mm-hmm. What did I say?
Grunting and groaning.
Oh, granting, grinning,
I think-
and moaning. I was going
I think more
alliterations.
moaning than groaning.
I think both. Hey,
Hopefully
we don't
you
kink
moan
shame.
more during sex than groan.
Don't you worry about what I do.
Okay.
I just do it really well because I have Blue Chew. Those tablets are made in the USA and prepared to ship directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visit to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy.
Blue Chew won't stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house. They want you to have that huge cock that you deserve. Make it life easier by getting harder and discovering your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. If you try your first month of Blue Chew for free, when you use this promo code DROP, you're going to pay just $5 in shipping. That's promo code DROP, D-R-O-P. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
Drop a Pin is also brought to you by Aura Frames. Mother's Day gifts can be a little predictable and boring, but this frame is not at all. I've actually already sent one to my mom. So it's a frame and you just send photos and that will show up in the frame. I just had a kid and my mom always wants photos. Now, every morning when she wakes up, there can be a new photo of my baby. It's going to make her so happy. She's going to find it extremely thoughtful. And it was also named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter. And these frames are guaranteed to mix things up this Mother's Day. They come with unlimited storage, so you can share as many photos as you want from your phone straight to your mom's Aura frame. Not only will she be grateful that it's not another gift card or, flowers, because, flowers only last a week. Aura frame, it will last forever, or at least close to forever. She'll also love that an Aura frame means she's getting to see more of you. Sometimes I only get a chance to talk to my mom once a week, but she'll still know that I'm thinking of her when I send a new photo to that frame. And we have quite a deal for you. For a limited time, our listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver Matte frame. That's auraframes.com. Promo code WONTON. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Ollie. If your dog could talk on a podcast, they beg for Ollie. The full body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big goofy grin. That's the Ollie effect for this guy. It delivers him some clean, fresh nutrition that it has 5 drool-worthy flavors, right, Gussie? Even for the pickiest eater, it's made in the U.S. kitchen with the highest quality human-grade ingredients. Ollie's food contains no filters, no preservatives, just real food. With 5 protein-packed recipes like fresh beef, he's already drooling, with some sweet potatoes or fresh turkeys with blueberry. Even the pickiest eaters can't resist. For any first-timers, Ollie will send your pup's first box with 2 weeks' worth of meals, a free storage container for mess-free serving, and guides to how to gradually switch them over to their new diet. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/dropapin and tell them about your dog. Use the code DROPAPIN to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on your first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's Ollie, OLLIE.com/dropapin and enter the code DROPAPIN to get 60% off your first box.
Welcome back to Gettin Cultured. Today's segment is brought to you by our friends at Hey Dudes. You can see my Hey Dudes right here. I got the slip-on boat shoes type variety that are easy. They got the stretchy laces. Donnie's actually rocking the ones that I believe are for golf, but they look good even if they're not golf. Mine actually might be golf too. I don't know. I wear them around. They're more comfortable than normal golf shoes if that's the case. But look, not even using hands, sliding my feet right into that bad boy. Love it. We're ready to go. At the airport, if you're going through TSA, you don't have to sit down and do all that stuff. You just maybe one finger it onto your foot and you're good to go. That's why you got to go to heydudes.com to get you some Hey Dudes. All kinds of variety of sizes, styles. Yep. You got the boots too that you wore throughout the winter here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They're like, the worst part of boots is just tying them.
Yep. You don't have to do that with Hey Dudes. Go to heydudes.com and get you some Hey Dudes. You're not going to regret it because they're super comfortable, stylish. KB even said that he wanted to have some relations with me based on my shoes.
Yeah. And I think like if you're wearing Velcro shoes, people are like, that guy's got some issues. Like,
I didn't know we were gonna attack Velcro users, but okay.
okay, well, I don't know. Like Velcro, I feel like it's become like, oh, if you're wearing Velcro shoes, you must be 80 years old. But no Velcro on these, but also no need to tie.
No need to tie.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yep. All right. So today we've had a lot of questions over the last couple months, really, about books. We do a little book chat from time to time about. Obviously, you read a lot of history books.
Yeah.
I talk more about like shard blades and fantasy stuff. So we wanted to give you guys some of our best books that we've read recently or just throughout time.
Yes, and I've pretty much only been reading historical books for the past like 4 years, so I got a lot. Some of them I'll just mention the names. Some of them we'll actually talk about like more in detail. But first up for me, these two kind of come as a pair. One is called Conquest, Cortez, Montezuma, and the Fall of Old Mexico, and the other one is The Last Days of the Incas. I find the conquest of the Incan Empire and the conquest of the Aztec Empire the most fascinating true stories in human history. Oh. It's like the closest we've ever come to like an alien invasion. It's like these are two cultures that knew nothing about each other, didn't even know that they existed, and they meet, and there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of violence, a lot of intrigue. It's insane stuff happens. I mean, spoiler alert, the empires do get conquered. But it's not as simple as that when you read. Like when you read about, there are a lot of other factors. For example, the Spanish and the Aztecs. The Spanish allied with one of the Aztecs' rival groups of people, so they had like 100,000 native allies for their battle against Tenochtitlan, which was the capital of the Aztec Empire, which is now Mexico City. So when we go to Mexico City, it's just going to be wild for me, being like, this is where these battles
Man, I'm having like
went
my
down.
own tour guide.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
For sure.
Pumped for that.
That's back when Tenochtitlan was just the coolest city design, I think, in human history. It was just built on an island in the middle of a lake, which nowadays I can't really think of any big cities that are on an island in the middle of a lake.
No.
If any.
Yeah.
So those will be my first two. Also, the Incas were in the midst of like a giant civil war at the time when the Spanish showed up. So if that wasn't the case, who knows if they would have won, but definitely read. They're pretty intense books, but well worth it.
All right. My first one is Stormlight Archives series by Brandon Sanderson. So the premise is that you want to know about the magic system. It's so big, it's so expansive. Like the series itself, just for that arc, is like 6,000 pages. So it's pretty extensive.
What's the overarching plot?
Okay, so it's almost impossible to explain an overarching because it's so big and so epic. It's like trying to explain the universe in 20 seconds.
Are there wizards?
There is no wizards.
No wizards.
So
okay.
you have people that have the characteristics of some godlike creatures, not creatures, I guess, but they use a magic system that involves shard blades, which is from light that they'll suck out of rubies or gems. So they have these things called spren, and spren can be indicative of any type of emotion. So now I would think that you would see nerd spren like coming around me because I'm talking about this.
Okay, is that like a pheromone, like something you can like smell on?
No,
someone?
it's like a being that has certain qualities, and everything has a spren. So this chair would have a spren too. Like there is a emotional soul to everything.
Okay.
So you can have like horny spren, there's hunger spren. Like if somebody gets nervous, there could be fear spren that you can see. So it's basically like a visual tale of a dog. You can tell how they're feeling.
Are these books very popular in the fantasy world?
Very, very popular, yeah.
Okay.
Tirani's a huge fan of them too.
All right. Hey, I have nothing against fantasy. I haven't read it in forever. I did read the original Lord of the Rings books, and I was sold on those. So
after I got done with that, I had never read Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, boring.
Okay, so if I enjoyed Lord of the Rings, then I'll probably really enjoy this stuff.
Yeah.
All right, what's it called again?
It's called Stormlight Archives.
Stormlight Archives.
Okay, so to hook you in, one of my favorite aspects of it, it's brilliance of writing. So it's like 12 years that it takes them to write these first 6 books. And they're legitimately, the shortest one I think is 1,100 pages. Like they're all crazy long. The dude writes at least 2,000 words a day. It's his bare minimum. And he tries to do at least 10,000 words a day writing, which is crazy. But each one of the first 5 books has a prologue. And the prologue is the same story for each one of the prologues, told from a different perspective of a different person that's involved in that prologue. So it is just brilliant how he weaves everything together. And I think it's one of the hardest lines of an opening series of any book I've ever read.
Okay, I can promise you I'll read one prologue. That's all I can promise.
Okay.
But
All right.
I'll give it a go.
I'll take that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Mayflower. It's kind of about the beginning of the United States, like the real beginning, but it's not like the boring story that we've all heard just about like, oh, the Pilgrims and the first Thanksgiving. It does talk about like what actually went down at the first Thanksgiving, but a crazy thing about that is, so all the people that were at the first Thanksgiving, then their children, like 30 years later, were at war with each other, and something called King Philip's War, which... if you go by percentage-wise, I mean, this was before we were the United States, but if you just consider all the Europeans that were in the U.S. at that time, it killed the highest percentage of Americans.
Okay.
So it got very violent. Like things went from like, oh, the Thanksgiving, like we're all getting along, to like really brutal, really dark, real fast. And yeah, I found it fascinating, especially if you're from the New England area. You'll probably enjoy it even more so because you can kind of imagine where all this went down. But yeah, it's like the real bare bone story of what the first few generations in the New World experienced.
Nice.
Yeah.
My second one, Lonesome Dove.
Is that a Western?
It is a Western.
Is it based on a true story?
No.
Okay.
It's not. It's not based on a true story. It starts in a little town called Lonesome Dove in Texas, and it follows the lives and the journey of 2 semi-retired Texas Ranger named Gus and Call are their names, and they are absolutely wonderful. Like the plot of the story, if you're going to hear the plot, I don't think anyone in the world would care about what's happening. It's just like a cattle drive from Texas all the way to Montana is where they're trying to get. But the dialogue and the relationships and the character building in it is the best of any book I've ever read. I finished it probably 2 months ago at this point. There's not been a single day I haven't thought about it or quoted something from that.
All right.
It is like a encapsulating book, like that you just think about like the relationships, how I deal with people, and I will never call sex anything other than getting a poke. I say it to my wife all the time, can I get a poke? Because they just go to prostitutes and pay for a poke.
All
you want to
right.
dip your carrot and get a poke. By God, Woodrow, like the audiobook, you got to do it too.
I'm going to get a poke.
It reminds me of where I'm from. Like
Yeah.
the way that they talk to each other, the way that the relationships, it's so heartwarming.
Do you know what my friend from Liverpool called getting a prostitute?
What?
I'm getting a brass.
Okay.
I don't know why brass means prostitute in Liverpool
Probably because
lingo.
vagina tastes like nickels. Pennies.
Getting a brass. I was gonna say because it's like a horn, and you get like a blowjob, and you also blow a horn.
Could be.
I have no idea though. If you like Western stuff though, a couple historical books I've read about that time period. One is Blood and Thunder, all about Kit Carson and the Mexican-American War.
Okay.
Fascinating stuff. And then I did read that Joe Rogan always talks about. It's called like Summer of the Blood Moon, or like
Yeah.
about the
Comanches.
either the Comanches or the Apache.
Apache, yeah.
Apache.
Yeah.
And
Summer Moon.
something about Kit Carson. What was I going to say? Like in the Blood Moon, they talk about the origin of the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers were invented just as like a unit that would be able to effectively fight the Comanches or the Apache because they were so good on horseback.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, we're not going to beat these guys just by like standing in formation and shooting at them. We got to get really good at fighting on horseback.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of Lonesome Dove is like talking about the back history of them doing just that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Blue Duck, that piece of shit. He deserved to die. No spoilers.
Where is this one? This one is about the Siege of Malta, which, it's called Empires of the Sea, the Siege of Malta, the Battle of Lepanto, and the Contest for the Center of the World by Roger Crowley. And it's all about the Siege of Malta, which is when 50 to 60,000 Ottomans showed up trying to take over the tiny island of Malta, and somehow 5,000 to 6,000 Maltese effectively fought them off. And it was a very important battle because the thought was that if the Ottomans conquer Malta, smack dab in the middle of the Mediterranean, they'll be able to use that as a base of operations to just conquer the rest of Europe, take down all of Italy, invade Spain. But because they somehow were able to fight them off, that's kind of like why Christianity remained in Europe in a way. So that would also be a great subject for a drop a pin down the line, just Malta. It's where I got engaged. So I got some personal experience. And thanks to that book, I know quite a bit about the history.
Now, these books that you like that are historical, are they written as like historical narratives, or like are they more like textbook? Or
they're not textbooky. No,
Okay.
they're like almost all of them are written in like it feels like you're just reading a novel.
Okay.
But it's cool because you're like, holy shit, this isn't just a novel. All this stuff actually happened.
Yeah. The next one for me, Papillon. It's about a guy who, this is a true story, based on a true story. It's a dude who got arrested and charged for murder and was sent to a penal colony in French Guiana. And he constantly tries to escape, and it's life on a penal colony in the early 1800s. And it is a fascinating read if you like to read about human suffering and like the way that he dealt with solitary confinement, where he was in like horrific conditions for a long period of time, and how he stayed mentally strong in that and kept trying to escape over and over and over again. It's a fascinating book.
Is that one based on a true story?
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Papillon is what it's called.
So where was he from? Like, where did he get arrested for a crime?
He was from France, and then they sent him. Henri Charry is what his name is. He's called Papillon. He got he was convicted in Paris in 1931 for a murder, and he didn't do the murder and was sent to French Guiana. But he went all over the place. Like he ends up escaping a couple times on a raft and goes all the way across and ends up in like Brazil. Like
that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, I've always thought, like, I know the British for a while were sending all of their criminals to Australia. Like, it'd be so insane just to commit a crime in rainy, foggy London, and then you
end up in El Salvador.
Put on a boat for like 6 months, and then all of a sudden, you're in like Australia
Or El Salvador.
Oh, they also sent some
We're doing that
criminals
now.
What?
We send people there now.
Oh, shit. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that got dark.
Yeah.
I've got a lot down here. One is In the Hurricane's Eye, The Genius of George Washington and the Victory at Yorktown. That was kind of mind-boggling. So you learn about like George Washington, but you also learn about how like we wouldn't have won the Revolutionary War if it wasn't for France. Like, because we didn't have a navy at all, and like the Brits had the strongest navy in the world, but we kind of just used France's navy. Like once they fully joined the war, and like the reason we won is because George Washington army, they were on land. They had the British army kind of like backed against the coast of Virginia in Yorktown, but there was a giant British fleet that was coming to pick them up, and then the war would have just gone on and on. But there was a crazy naval battle between the French fleet and the British fleet off the coast in Chesapeake Bay, and the French fleet were able to win. And then at that point, after they destroyed the British Navy, it's like they were actually completely cornered, and they had no choice but to surrender.
Shit.
Yeah, so that's a cool book. Who's that by? Nathaniel Philbrick, who also wrote Mayflower. So he's just a good guy to read. He also wrote The Heart of the Sea, about like the story that inspired Moby Dick. Another author I'd recommend, Roger Crowley, because I've been talking about him. He wrote a book about Venice called The City of Fortune, and a book about the Conquerors, which is all about how the Portuguese were able to make it around Africa, discover the sea route to India and then kind of like conquer the local populations there and like start establishing sea trade routes between Portugal and India and how that made them one of the most powerful empires in the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
And my last one that I'll give a recommendation for today, River of Doubt, about Teddy Roosevelt's trip in an uncharted river arm of the Amazon. After he ran for president for the third time and lost, and he got shot in the chest and decided that he needed to go on an extreme expedition. He went down with his son. Shout out Kermit.
Yes. Shout out Kermit, who I think later in life committed suicide.
Yeah, after doing a lot of boozing. And he's an absolute wild boy. But like the stories of him and his dad and what they endured going down the River of Doubt was crazy. Like thinking about a president now, like obviously Biden in his current condition, probably not charting Amazonian rivers.
Yeah.
But like George W., like going down and just being gone for 3 years doing that is nuts.
Yeah, this is after he had been president, after he had been shot. He was the biggest adrenaline junkie I think I know.
You know why?
Why?
Because he had really bad asthma.
Oh, so he needed the adrenaline to like help him breathe.
So when he was younger, I think he was like the middle son and he was like the weakling. His brothers were all like way stronger than him, worked on the farm, and because he couldn't breathe. And his dad finally was like, you got to stop being a fucking pussy. Like your mom is coddling you. You're still going to be a man one day. You need to go out here, just go chop wood. So he chopped wood every single day, chop, 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 chop. And eventually his lungs got a little bit better. So he started doing boxing and rowing and marathons. And he kept himself going because he never wanted to be back in that position of not being able to breathe.
Okay.
So he did like all those crazy with John Muir, I think his name is, MEIR, that the chart of the original national parks and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's one of the biggest reasons why he did that. Teddy Roosevelt went down to Haiti and marched with some like Marines with hogs wax on their feet. Like he did extreme shit.
Yeah.
In order to just be able to breathe. Like that was one of the biggest reasons, driving factors, is that he wanted to be an extreme lifestyle guy so he could not have asthma.
I think when he was president, he would invite people over to the White House and then box them.
Yeah.
Like he had like a makeshift boxing ring in the White House. Mm-hmm. And he also, someone called him Four Eyes once when he was working on like a ranch out in Wyoming or Montana, and he beat the piss out of him.
I love it.
Yeah. I'll be sure not to call you Four Eyes.
No, you can't. I'm a
You don't
pussy
give a
now.
shit? Okay. All right.
I actually posted a tweet the other day of me standing in front of the golf simulator with like, there's a big slit down the middle of it.
I saw
so
that,
you want to
yeah.
get the pipe. And somebody quote tweeted it with one of the meanest things somebody ever said. Look at this guy now. He looks like a bitch and he used to be a tier 1 operator.
Was you were called a tier 1 operator when you were in the military?
Recon's not a tier 1 operator, but it's like tier 2. But
Okay, yeah. Damn.
it was like, honestly, clean shot.
Yep. A clean shot. Just my last honorable mentions. 1493, about how the entire planet changed after we found the New World, which like very bare bones. It's like the Irish didn't even have potatoes. The Italians didn't have tomatoes. Like, but then the world changed in many more ways. Like we found so much silver in the New World that it disrupted the European economy. It's just about how it transformed the whole world. The wager about a crazy mutiny that actually happened where people got stranded in Patagonia and somehow were able to make their way back to Europe. Sea Wolves, which is about the Vikings. Oh, and then I got to mention this, Lost to the West, the forgotten Byzantine Empire that rescued Western civilization. The Byzantine Empire does not get enough love. Everybody thinks about the Roman Empire, but the Byzantine, it was the Roman Empire. We only invented the term Byzantine later. And so pretty much the Roman Empire lasted until like 1493 when the Ottomans conquered Constantinople. But yeah, shout out the Byzantines.
Shout out the Byzantines. All right, we'll be back next week for another episode. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Peace out.
Bong.